Operations Lead for the DOE's Home Energy Score program, and I'm joined by my colleague today, Glenn Dickey, who will be presenting today's webinar. The webinar will probably last around 30 to 40 minutes, and we will follow up with a question and answer session in chat. But I'll be keeping everyone's microphones on mute throughout the duration. So feel free to type in your questions in the chat box, and occasionally Glenn will pause and field some of your questions as long as there's not too many to keep up with. So I'll turn it over to Glenn at this point. Glenn? Glenn? Might be
Sorry about that. There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
You got to unmute both the phone and the presentation. So thank you for the introduction, Eric. Thank you all for attending. We have some changes in the methods, as well as we have a new calculator to unveil, and a little information on some of the defaults we use going forward. As Eric said, if you've got questions, please. Eric, did you hit the record button?
Yes, I did.
That looks like you did. Great. As Eric said, if you've got questions, send those to us in the chat box. We'll take them as we can, and certainly anything that's left to the end, we'll try to get those taken care of as well. But otherwise, I guess we will get started. I don't remember how to do this. There we go. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about some what I'm calling method changes. So some changes in the way we use the calculator and how we assess some of our house characteristics. We're going to show you those calculator changes. What you might do if you've got concerns about recent scores. And then we'll actually show you some screen captures. I'm not actually going to do a demo, so to speak, but we'll show you the screen captures for the affected pages in the calculator, and then a few improvements that are coming not too far out. As Eric pointed out, the presentation is being recorded, and we will provide we will send an email with the link to the presentation as soon as we have that posted to the Home Energy Score website. So our new methods. The first one, hopefully this will make people happy, is we have no more HVAC rating calculations. I'm going to show you the new table to use. These are going to be based on, we're still going to need to know the age of the equipment, but we'll give you guidance on what efficiency to use based on whether it's an Energy Star piece of equipment or not. So again, this becomes more of just a table as opposed to a functioning calculator. We're going to provide some R-level defaults based on your location and the age of the house and the stud depth. So again, I'm going to show you each of these individually in a few minutes. We've got a new areas calculator that will give you especially how to deal with knee walls. We're going to change how we've characterized knee walls in the past, and we're providing a new calculator that will hopefully help sloped area. That sloped ceiling, we're going to call that the Cathedral ceiling, and you're going to define the R value as you normally would for that part. Once I get to the calculator view, I'll show this a little better, hopefully make it a little clearer. In words, it's a little confusing. Hopefully the picture will help. We made some changes to the calculator. I know that there have been some issues with making it work in some of the non-Windows-based Excel spreadsheet emulators. We've simplified it in some ways. We've gotten rid of all of the macros. It should work on most of the emulators now. I'll never say all, but it seems to be working on most of them now. We will provide the new calculator with the email that we send out with the link to the website, but it is already available now on the Home Energy Score portal. So if you're used to logging on to the Home Energy Score portal in order to do your data entry for the Home Energy Score, if you click on the Getting Started packet under Resources, that will open up this page, and you're looking for the Assessor Calculator at the bottom that's dated 02/06/19. So you can download that today by going to the portal. If you believe that this is going to make a significant difference to any scores that you created recently, I would suggest you run a test score using the new methods and see what the effect is. Once you determine that, then you can decide whether you really need to go ahead and create a new score. This is going to be primarily up to guidance by the partner. As with many programs, changes are made on an as-needed basis. We don't typically go back and just change everything that happened before. So this is a situation where we're making a change in our methods. That doesn't mean we need to go back and rescore everything. Certainly, if you've got a concern and you want to take a look, feel free to do so. If you find you do need to create a corrected score, you can do that in the Home Energy Score dashboard in the interface, irrespective of how you entered it originally. So whether you use the DOE Home Energy Score interface or you use the third-party software to do that, you can do it in the DOE dashboard to create that corrected score. We simplified that with our previous update. We have now the copy and paste method. Again, if you go to the partner portal or to our Home Energy Score portal, under the Getting Started packet, the login procedures and dashboard instructions will give you the guidance you need in order to copy and paste that so that you don't have to re-enter everything. You just have to re-enter the affected fields. Take a look at that. And again, you might be able to do that in the third-party software. Each of those are different. I don't have full knowledge of how all of those work. So if you're trying to do a corrected score in third-party software, the best thing to do is contact either the software provider or your partner. They should be able to give you the guidance you need in order to do that. So here are some screenshots of our new calculator. This is for the equipment, the efficiency defaults. As you can see, there aren't any drop-down fields here. This is strictly a static lookup table. The things to keep in mind here is we still have, you'll notice most of these fields have a date range. So we still need to find out what the date is for the manufacturer, and then system type to define what the efficiency is. So none of the efficiencies have changed. We're still using AFUE for combustion fuel and electric resistance heat. We're still using SEER and HSPF for air conditioning and heat pumps. So none of that has changed, just the values have. The sort of the oddity in all of this is that as of May 2015, the minimum efficiencies became climate dependent. So if you are in the northern climates as defined by the box on the right side, then the minimum for cooling on a heat pump or an air conditioner is a 14. Whereas if you're on the north, again, as defined by the boxes, then it's only a 13. Stop clicking. And then on the heating side, for the combustion heating systems, gas and propane, that flips. So the higher efficiency is expected in the north, and the slightly lower efficiencies are required in the south. So this is not really a whole lot different from what you've been dealing with before, other than that it is a static page, and we do have this sort of oddity where we're defined by north and south. Looks like we're staying clear of questions so far, so I will roll on.
We've got a couple.
Oh, okay, go ahead then.
Eric wanted to know, are vaulted ceilings, in parentheses, accessible attic space over the slopes, are they supposed to be identified as cathedral ceilings under the new method?
No, those are if it's just sloped, so it's not the roof and the ceiling are not attached to the rafters, then it should be considered vented attic. If they are both attached to the rafters, then it's a cathedral ceiling.
Okay. And then Michael asks if the new calculator will work on Google Sheets.
I'm not 100% sure, but I believe so.
It should, I think, but. And then,
I know I tested it at one point. I believe it works, but we tested a lot of them, and I don't remember all of them.
And then Brian asks if I have documentation that a 2000 AC unit is 14 SEER. Should I use the 14 SEER or the 10 SEER from the table?
If you have better information than the table provides, use what you have. So yeah, if there's a sticker on the piece of equipment that says it's a 14 or an 18 or a 20 or whatever it might be, use what's on the sticker.
Right, and we indicate that in the yellow box up at the top of the chart there also.
Right. And further, with, as the box says, with this new guidance, you should not need to use the installation date. You should be using the efficiency date. These efficiencies do not align with the defaults that come out by putting in a date. If you use dates, especially with new equipment, you're going to derate them significantly. So the house will score lower than you would expect it to. So use the table based on the dates and the equipment type and whether it's an Energy Star or not, and energy efficiency. Please do not use the dates. Is that good with the question there?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So again, to reiterate, since May 2015, the minimum efficiencies became regionally dependent. Continue to use the buildingcenter.org website where you need to in order to find the equipment manufacture date so you can choose the right efficiency. And again, do not use the year installed. There should be no reason for using that any longer. You've got the information to define the efficiencies now. Wall insulation default R values. So we've had quite a bit of questions over the past few years about how do we determine wall R values, and there are all sorts of procedures for doing so, and none of them are really very effective. But one of our national labs did some work and came up with what they believe to be reasonable default values based on location, house age, and stud depth. And that's what this page will do. So on the page itself, you can see that we have there are actually only 10 regions here. There's not one. I don't know what happened to one, but it's not there. So we have 10 regions. You'll choose your region here, and it will update your boxes here. If you are using the spreadsheet calculator, if you save it after you make this change, you'll never have to make the change again as long as you continue to work in the same region. We do have at least one partner who has specific guidance for their area on what wall insulation values to use. Follow your partner guidance where that's been provided. If they haven't provided you anything, and again, if you don't have better information, if you've got information from the homeowner, especially if they can provide a receipt that the walls have been insulated since the house was built, or you can find evidence of that, then use the R value from that. This is for use when you don't have better information. So again, pick your region, then look up whether you got a 2x4 or 2x6 stud spacing. If you got anything more than that, then you're going to have to figure the insulation values are obviously not what are here, but you should have some documentation that tells you what it is. These R values have already been derated. They're assuming a fair installation, so you do not need to derate these values. Just take the value off the table and enter it into Home Energy Score. Now, our Kneewall calculator. So as we said, I don't know if all of our assessors have ever actually run into a house that has knee walls, but a knee wall is basically any wall that is exposed to an attic space. The new calculator tries to allow you to enter dimensions to provide that then gives you the areas. So you will take and in this instance, so our blue arrows align with our blue arrows align with the blue data fields, the purple arrow with the purple field, the red with the red, the puke brown gray color with the puke brown gray color. So if you enter these elements, it will then give you your unconditioned attic space. So this combines your knee wall, your vertical purple space here with, so your purple times your blue gives your knee wall area. Your gray times your blue gives you your flat ceiling area. Those are combined to give you, and then your blue and your red at the top for flat there. These all combine to give you your flat, your unconditioned attic area, and then just your length again, and your slope will give you your cathedral ceiling area. Unfortunately, Cape Cod style houses are not necessarily symmetrical, so they may not all look exactly like this. You may have to break it up into a couple of spaces to do this. The other thing to keep in mind is you don't have to have your dimensions exactly right. So if there's a dormer in there, if there's only one, you probably don't have to work too hard to account for the extra area there. If you got 3 or 4, then it becomes more of an issue. But hopefully this will help you get the numbers that you need in order to combine those in the right way and get the values that calculator, but it may not be, you may not all be familiar for this. This hopefully makes it a little bit easier to calculate the areas for a vaulted or a cathedral ceiling. So if you put in what's called the rise, so the height between the flat and the peak, and then the run, so the distance from the outside wall to the peak, and then that floor area for that room, it will tell you what what the sloped ceiling area is. You should then be able to take that value and put it into home energy score. On the same page in the calculator where we have this calculator as well as the Kneewall calculator, there is also what we call a floor ceiling area calculator. It's a little wonky. It's been somewhat superseded by the validation that we've put in. But go ahead and take a look at it. If you think it's helpful, give it a shot. If you do use it and find it's not very helpful, or you've got suggestions on how to make it better, we'd love to hear it. I don't, like I said, it's a little wonky. I built it. I'm not 100% happy with it. So I'd certainly like any feedback you might have on how to make it better. Or just let me know it's not, it's not helpful, and we can just take it away. We have also added these calculators to our DOE web interface. Those will be put out to the production server tomorrow, so you won't see them today. Probably sometime noonish Eastern time. That will get pushed out to our production server, and to show you what that looks like out you'll now see a calculator wherever we have the likes of a roof area or an installation value. You click on the calculator, and then it looks very similar to what you've seen in the past. So you'll pick the installation type and its installation quality and what the depth is, and that'll give you the R value. You can then use the averaging calculator that you used to using on the first page in the spreadsheet calculator to do your averaging here. I don't want to get too involved with this, but and if you do this, then it will give you your average value, and then if you click on the use calculated result, it will automatically populate that field. That works for some fields, doesn't work for all of them. You will see, if it does work, you'll get a quick box that says use calculated value. So we have that for all the installations. We've got the wall that we showed you now shows up there, and again works the same way. Pick your region, and it will tell you what to do. Where there are blanks here, that means that the construction was not very popular, and you're not likely to see it. So we do have some additional changes coming before too long. They should have been here already, but we're running a little behind. These will be available on the DOE web interface. They may or may not be available on third-party software. We're not requiring that these be included in third-party software, so they may or may not incorporate them. If you want to see them, I highly recommend that you talk to your partner. They will be able to encourage the software providers to do that. The tankless on on-demand water heater. That will be added. You'll be able to choose heat pump as a standalone. Right now, if you choose a heat pump for heating, it has to be the same for cooling, and vice versa. This is especially troublesome for heat pump or for mini splits, where maybe you've got a central heating system, but they put in a mini split for the air conditioning. You'll be able to do that. You'll be able to separate out the heating from the cooling, such that they don't both have to be a heat pump. Some of you may have run into new water heaters that have what's called a uniform energy factor. It's slightly different from the past straight up energy factor. You'll be able to enter the value that's on the tank. All the new water heaters, this is since 2016, have the UEF actually printed on the tank, so you will not have to look that up. You won't have to do anything other than just copy that value off the water heater itself and enter it in the home energy score. We don't have any partners, we have a few assessors, but not any local partners in the desert Southwest. We're about to add window shade screens. This is for, these are typically installed to lower the amount of sunshine shining through the windows, lower the air conditioning load. Again, this is mostly for the desert Southwest, but we'll be adding these. They will. So that those can be included for the partners who do have an interest in using it. You will no longer see a reflective roof recommendation that saves only $1. We're going to stop that nonsense. We don't run into this very often, but we can do it, so we went ahead and implemented it. If you have an electric boiler, you can make that as a heating choice. And also, if you have done, we have one partner who does air sealing work as part of the initial assessment and then does a blower door test. And in some instances, although they've just done air sealing, there will be a recommendation for further air sealing. This tends to upset customers. So you can choose not only to enter a blower door reading, but you can also indicate that air sealing has been done. So that recommendation will be defeated. It will not be included. So you won't have to go through the explanation that the software you're using is working a little harder than maybe it needs to be in this instance. As I said, I don't know yet when these are going to be released. When they are, we'll give you a heads up. We probably won't do a full webinar, but we will send out guidance when this goes out. Again, the presentation's been recorded. We'll provide you a follow-up email with the link as well as the Assessor Calculator. And again, the Assessor Calculator is available today through the portal. Just log in there and you can download it under the resources, getting started packet. Again, back here. So under getting started packet under resources on the login page. So that is the end of the presentation. It looks like we're starting to get some questions, so I will be, Eric, I'll let you parse through those.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. Jessica asks, will the calculator results on the web be saved with the score for QA purposes?
They will not.
Okay, and
you should be able to do a screen capture though.
Right, because essentially the calculator embedded just works. It's kind of a one-off thing each time, right?
That's right. Yeah, it just comes up each time you click on it. Nothing is saved on the backside, but you should be able to do a screen capture to show what you've done.
Yeah, we've got some very positive comments on that, on the embedded calculator. So, if anybody has questions, feel free to go ahead and type them into chat, and we'll get them answered for you. As Glenn mentioned, the calculator is available on the portal already. You can start using it right away if you wish. We will be sending it out to all assessors by the end of the week, most likely. If not by the end of the week, by early next week. But as soon as we have the presentation recording link ready, we'll send that out. And included with that will be a slightly updated version of the data entry guidelines, which will basically just incorporate some of the changes that we've talked about here. And it will remove the wall insulation, the old chart that was in the data entry guidelines, because that's being replaced by the calculator chart. So, again, any questions?
Gamaliel, in answer to your question, yes, we are working on getting all of that incorporated into HPXML. By the time we release it, it will be there. And you'll get time to as you always do, to integrate those changes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed some of the questions. I wasn't looking on that.
That's all right. That one's very specialized, but I saw it, so I hit it.
Okay. So Pete asks, is there any chance of a simplification of data input when a home uses a GSHP for heating and cooling? Oftentimes, finding the info needed for the calculator is difficult to locate.
Unfortunately, the answer is no. You've got to come up with the COP and the COP for that. I think it's COP on both sides. Unfortunately, that's what the tool takes, and that's what those equipment are rated in, and so that's what we need to have. But I understand your pain.
Okay. Gamaliel asks, will all of these be added to the XML channel? Okay,
that's the one I answered. Yeah.
Eileen, we can provide the PowerPoint slides as well. That's no problem. Let's see. Will we be expanding home energy score to include multi-story, multi-family housing units?
Generally, no. Certainly not apartments. You can do up to a 3-story multi-family building, but you have to do the whole building, and it probably won't score well. And it gets really ugly when you try to do where you try to average the HVAC. You come up with wonky recommendations that don't make any sense for anything.
Okay. Here's a question about the development pipeline. Will assessors ever be able to change or adjust energy or contracting price inputs to determine cost-effective recommendations? For example, a local rebate for $1 per square foot attic insulation.
Unfortunately not. The primary function of the tool is to provide the store with high-level recommendations. If we start getting to the point where we're providing anything that starts to look like a work scope, we start to step on the toes of our software providers who are doing a much better job of providing full work scopes and recommendations. And we don't want to upset those people. We want to keep them on our side. So we probably, at least not in the foreseeable future, will that be added.
Okay. With the new portal, can't select contract final if I didn't perform the initial? Can this be fixed?
Yeah, we're working on some alternatives there. I don't have a timeline yet, but the goal is that you will be able to.
Okay. And here's one I think we often
In the meantime, your partner can do that if you can.
Okay. And is there CEU for this webinar?
If you signed in with your full name, send me an email and I will validate that you attended, and then you can send that to BPI and they will make a decision on whether their CEUs available or not. I think they did with our last one. I don't think that was going to be a continuing policy, but I'll let you follow up with BPI.
Right, and when you send it to assessor at ee.doe.gov.
That's always your best choice when trying to contact us. Eric and I both monitor that mailbox. Eric much more so than I, but you're most likely to get a quick response using that email than any of the others.
Okay, that looks like it for the questions. So I think that wraps it up for today. Do you have anything else, Glenn?
That's all I've got. Thank you for attending. Let us know how things are going. We do want your feedback. And Eric, thank you for running things. You did a nice job.
Yep. Thanks everybody for joining.